And if you would mute yourself, then it'll just be like, make it so the audio can be heard by everybody. So, hi, welcome to a book release party. I wrote a book. It's right here. It's called Surrender, the Key to, my mom's holding it. Thank you, Mom. The Key to Bringing Your Child, Home, and Soul Back in Alignment with God. So surrender, that's the key. And yeah, I was inspired to write this book in the fall and through the winter of 2020. So middle of COVID and everything. We were in, my family and I, we were in a transition. We sold our house. We were living in a rental, looking for a place to live, just kind of really in a lot of transition. And I was getting coaching because I was feeling anxious and like anxious and depressed and kind of like, not like severe depression, but just like, where are we going? Where are we going to end up? Where is this world going? You know, just like, and I was concerned about my children's childhood. Will they have everything they need? And I was in anxiety to have everything in the external sort of be solved. And I was probably got, like, I signed up for 12 coaching sessions in the fall with Marie Glasheen. And probably like 10 and a half of those sessions were like, oh, like this kind of like week to week or day-to-day struggles or worries, and like not really like kind of going anywhere. By the end of almost all of that, I was like, okay, like I surrender, you know, life is going to be what it is. Like I can't find that house or manage those future years for my children as they're heading into the second half of childhood. And I can't do it all right now. Like I don't have all the answers. And well, what can I do? You know, where am I going to find my source of satisfaction? And it's not going to be in all the external situations being all lined up the way that I would hope that they would be. So I kind of just had to let those anxieties go. And what the conclusion was, is that I need to put time into the thing that I'm passionate about and my life purpose and my service on this planet in like a bigger way, like not just my service to my family, cooking, cleaning, but like, and homeschooling. I mean, I have full services, but there's a capacity that I have to serve more and to serve bigger. And so I thought, I don't know, I kind of want to express myself. I kind of feel the need to express like what happened in the last, what did I realize, and what are some of my conclusions over the last 2 decades of working with children and raising children? Because I started working with children when I was 20 and I'm 41. And it's like, yeah, I want to express something. I think maybe I'll write a book. And within a week, I think I traveled to Orlando and I visited with my friend Angie, who's here, Angie Ross. And she's my friend since 10 years old. And we're still really close, and she's the best. And I was sitting with her and like thinking, I don't know, I think I want to write a book. And she's like, well, why wouldn't you? And I was like, I don't know, who am I? Who am I to be an author, you know? And she said, that's exactly why you need to write the book, just because to overcome that. And I was like, that's a great reason. And I was like, yeah. Between the encouragement from Marie and encouragement from Angie, I was like, yeah, I'm going to sit down. So I started to write an outline of what I could write about, and it was sort of all things I know and think about. It was a lot. And my experiences was that God sent me some support. Within a day, I received an email that said, want to write your book in 90 days? And I was like, yeah. So I clicked that and I went to this page, and I was reading, and I heard from this man that I hired, this man, Drew Roselle, or Roselle, I'm not sure it's his last name, but I was like, yeah, I clicked, got on a call with him, and he knew everything that I was going through. I mean, not that he knew already, but I felt so understood, like he really knew what I was experiencing, what my soul needed. He said kind of just everything I needed to hear, like, yeah, I have to do this. And I'll be much better supported to hire a coach. So I was kind of in transition and COVID, and we sold our house. There was a little money. I was like, yeah, and I came to Gaetano and I told him my experience, and he was like, you need to do it. So I'm just admitting people every once in a while, but yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm going to write a book in 90 days. And it took longer because, we bought a house and we moved and we kind of just had a lot going on. But it happened. I finished the book. It's not perfect. It's not huge. It's like, it's a nice size. It's not like crazy, but it's total from page 1 to the last page is like 86 pages, but there's a few pages in the front and the back before and after. But yeah, a little 86-page book for parents. It's kind of the perfect size for parents. And that's my experience. A book is a big accomplishment. Yeah, Jim, thanks. Yeah, to start it and finish it and put it out. It's like, yeah. So, and it was a magical experience writing out my philosophy, and new things surfaced that I didn't quite realize. And my experience with having the coach, Drew, was that, he really helped me get clear what exactly, like a solid argument of the book or a thesis, like what is this book going to take a stand for? And what was really cool is he listened so well to me, and he didn't let me settle for, I could write about practical things in parenting. I could write about just practical techniques and advice and, perspectives and stuff, but he kept hearing devotion and God and service to God and surrender, as I was working it out. And he's like, why aren't you talking about God? And I was kind of more leaning towards just life purpose or kind of just positive things. And I was like, well, I don't know, I'm kind of uncomfortable. But he's like, but if you don't talk about God in your book, then people are going to come to you, but you really want to talk about God. And then they find out you talk about God, but they don't really want to, maybe they don't want to, and you won't really have people coming to you that is a match. So put God in there. And I was like, yeah, I have to. So, and then just writing it was sometimes it really impacted me. I wrote something so powerful and I stood up and I was like, oh my gosh, I went out to Gaetano, my husband, there's something kind of happening, something moving through me, stuff coming out of me that feels really powerful. I'm kind of channeling something, sort of. That was my experience. I was showing up and a message was coming through. And after the message was completed, I was like, I could have had another message that was positive, that I believe in. There are other messages. There are other stances to take for parents. My favorite parenting guru doesn't talk about God at all, or spiritual life really, but he's my favorite. Why not write what he wrote, but this was my message, and I started connecting the dots. Yeah, it makes sense that that message comes through me based on my life and my story. And so I'm just kind of following the message now. It's okay, that's what's coming through. Maybe it's for someone, and I know it's for me, it's transformed my life in the sense that I'm taking a stand for my life purpose. And that's a part of the book is, bringing your soul back in alignment with your truth, with God. It's part of what I wrote about. And I'm like, yeah. And I talked with Angie before, after. Angie's been a big support. We've been supporting each other. And I think she said something afterwards, yeah, if you believe in what you wrote, then you have to do this. I have to keep this mission going. Yes. Yeah, this book, Carolyn is Rebecca's mom, and she said, hope it will help a Nana too, a grandma. Yeah. It's good. I think it can be applicable actually to any human in any area of life. It's not just parents and children. There's some specifics about that, but a lot of it's, I think, universal principles that, for humans on this spiritual journey, you know, surrender to God is like kind of like the big ultimate thing. Like, are we going to do that? It's a big deal, you know. But anyway, I wrote a little book. I didn't write everything about that, but yeah. So tonight I am going to share with you all. Angie says, yes, I think the message applies to so many areas of life. Yeah, there's a lot of universal things that anyone could benefit from the book, I think. And as far as like what I wrote, you know, it's not all about parenting, but definitely it's for parents. So yeah, so tonight I wanted to share a little bit about my like life story and kind of where I'm coming from, and have some special mentions, which I have shared a few, and share some links. And also something I forgot, and now I would love to hear from all of you, is just what's your name? Where are you coming from? Where are you at right in the world? And how come you came here? Just in like a couple words, you know. I think there's one new person to me, or maybe I'm just not recognizing the name. But I was just thinking to everyone to say hi. I'm Dominique. I'm in La Crosse, Florida, and I'm here because I wrote the book and I'm hosting the party. So if you want to put that in the chat, you can. If you don't, that's okay. But I thought it'd be fun to hear from you in the chat. So, okay.
You want to do it now?
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to unmute, but you could type it, Dad. Or actually, this is my dad. He gets a special, you know, platform here. So let's hear from my dad. What's up, Dad?
Well, I'm just looking for direction. Anyway, we're Dominique's parents, and to be honest with you, we could have used the book when we were raising our children. So I don't know where you were, probably in Mom's tummy somewhere. But it was a great read. I learned a lot from it, and I'm sure it's going to apply to a lot of people. And it's you get to the core in it, which is the surrender to God part, which a lot of parenting books or a lot of other books don't go that deep into it. So that's really where the solutions to all the struggle and all the pain and freedom and the joy comes from that connection with getting guidance from a higher source. So I'm sure you'll do well with the book. It's great. We're really proud of you for putting this together. We love you.
I'm Carol, and I'm her mother, and I'm very proud of her in the book. I read it right away. It took me a day or two because I had other things to do, but I just find it to be very wise and, just common sense, loving, caring wisdom. And was really impressed, and I'm sure it's good for so many people. I would recommend friends and parents and other people to read it as well. It isn't only about children, it's just about living in life and doing your best each day. And she brings that off, and it certainly could help parents for sure, no doubt. But so I'm very proud of you, and I thank you.
You guys, thank you, Mom and Dad. Oh my gosh, I got the best mom and dad on the planet. Mom and Dad, will you mute yourselves though? Yeah, Dad, can you mute yourselves? Thanks. It's just like there's like an echoey sound. So that was a special guest appearance by the one and only Tom and Carol Giampaolo. You guys, oh my gosh, I'm gonna not read the chats for a little bit, but thank you. So you guys, I want to tell you how it all began. So, and the way I see it was when my sister Heather had her two daughters. So I was 14 and she had a daughter, and then another one like a year and a half later. And I don't know, I think around age 16 or 17, that's when they started to be like toddler, 2, 3, 4, and I just sort of discovered that I love playing with kids, and it was just like easy and fun. And I just had like a nice relationship with my nieces. And I remember my dad being like impressed by certain things I did. Like, how did you know to say that or do that? And I was like, I don't know, and he's like, well, what would you do under this situation? And I would just respond like, I would probably do this or say that. So when I was a teenager, I was like already kind of just had a little natural ability in relationship to children. And, but it wasn't like something that I was pursuing. I mean, when I was a child, I wanted to be an artist and I wanted to be a teacher. And then as I went to college, I was like, yeah, I'll go to school for teaching. But then I got placed in a public school setting and I was like, I don't want to be here. Like, I need to be free. I need space. Like, I don't want to force kids. I don't want to put them through a system. You know, I need to like to be with children, not like push them through any agenda at all. Like, you know, so I switched to being an artist. I was like, okay, I'll just study art because that's, you know, like I don't fall asleep in those classes because you're doing something with your hands. And I don't know, like I can do art. So it's not like my passion, but anyway, so when I was like having like whatever kind of jobs, like I worked at a restaurant and I print photographs at a printer, and I had a restaurant job when I was 20. I was working like a fine dining restaurant, and I was working like at the day shift, and it was like buffet style, but the fine dining was at night. They kind of had two menus, and I was like, well, I should move up, you know, make more money. Why not, you know? So let me ask if I can start to work at night and make more money. And so they like delayed for months, and then they finally gave me a chance. And then once I did it, I thought I did fine, like nothing broke, you know, I served everybody and I was nice, and, you know, I thought I did good. But they took me back at the end of the night and they're like, well, Dominique, if we didn't already know you and like you, you know, you've already been working with us, we wouldn't have hired you if this was your first night. And I was like, what? Why? You know? And they're like, you needed to sell more. Like the numbers, I basically had no idea. They didn't even mention that to me before my first night. I mean, I probably should have known that, right? But they're like, you know, you needed to sell more wine and desserts, all the extra things beyond just the plate, you know, drinks and everything. And I was like shocked, like, okay. And I felt kind of like embarrassed and like humiliated, like, oh, I'm terrible, you know? And I went home and I was like, I don't want to sell wine and desserts. I can't get on board. Like, I can't do this. Like, I don't care. Like, this is not my mission. Like, I can't jump on board, like selling, you know, at this restaurant. So I went in the next day. I was like, I'm not going to work here anymore. And they were like, okay, you know, and I remember my boss saying when I was 20, you know, you'll never get far in life with an attitude like that. Anyway, so I was like, whatever, like, I don't agree, but I'm out of here. So I just quit without a job or like income. And you know, it wasn't like the best financial decision, but I did find a job. I was looking for jobs and I kind of realized it'd be cool to be a babysitter. Like I found this ad that said, play in the creek and find caterpillars. And I was like, yeah, let me do that. Like, totally, this is me, you know, I'm good with kids. I'm just, you know, it just was like, I feel like God was, you know, guiding me along my path. And I went and interviewed with them, and the kids were 4 and 8, 2 boys. And they loved me, but then I mentioned that I might be moving. So I thought, oh, maybe I'll move to like this other city. I never moved from Gainesville. I was in Gainesville, Florida. But anyway, they tried to hire this other babysitter. The other babysitter brought their boyfriend to the job, and they're like, no. And they fired her, called me back. Like, we actually really wanted you. Could you just come? And I was like, yay. Oh, I was so disappointed when they didn't pick me. Like, it was like, this is wrong. Like, I need this. It's like a perfect job. You know, it was just a match. And they knew it too, but you know, anyway, so that was when I was 20. And it was like that job opened up my realization of my passion for children. Like, I remember coming home to my roommate Jessica, and being like describing these moments of connecting with children. I mean, it was simple stuff, but like for me, like I just love kids, you know, like they're real, they're authentic, they're creative, they're playful, they are, you know, just fun. And I was like, I can just be myself and help raise kids. And like, you know, it was just very meaningful work for me. And so what I did was I kept working with children, and I got for 11 years, actually. I was a nanny, babysitter. Eventually I had a home daycare, but you know, it was 11 years and kind of overlapped with becoming a mom. And yeah, it was, you know, it was just like the bliss of my soul. Like I just get to be me. It's not some fancy career. And my friends may be going on and like they got their degrees and they got their jobs and they got the money or whatever, but like I just need to be me and like hang out with kids and like go kind of small settings, one-on-one or groups of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of, you know, like just like when I had the home daycare, you know, we had larger groups of kids, but yeah, so so yeah, by the way, like I did drop out of college too, because, you know, what happened was I was like, oh, it was similar to the restaurant business. I was like, oh, the whole purpose of this, you know, school is going to arts. The whole purpose of going to art school is to prepare myself for the art world. They were preparing you for shows and marketing. I don't know. It was like not a lot of marketing, but it was like, I just realized like I don't really want to be a part of the art world. And then I remember sitting with a friend, Samara, and she was like, well, what do you want? And this was when I was like 22, because I kind of took a longer time going through school. But I was like, well, I want to volunteer with children in need. And I was crying and trembling. It was just like the deepest truth. Like it was like came from out of nowhere, really. I had never thought about it consciously before, but it was so true. And as soon as I knew that, I was like, I got to fundraise and go, and I need to quit school. And maybe these stories don't sound like I'm a very committed person, but but actually it was like I was doing things that were out of alignment. And certain things do need to be quit when they're out of alignment with who you are. And that's my stance. And so, you know, I mean, in a gracious way, in a thoughtful, conscientious way, but I went to my teacher the next possible day, Monday morning, like, I don't want to be in school. Like, I can't even want to finish the semester. I'm going to go volunteer with children. And he was like, wait, okay, that's fine to quit, but can we just get through the semester so you don't have these failures or whatever, incompletes or whatever? And what do you need to do to get through it? He was so cool. He was like, whatever you need to, whatever art projects you want to do, just do some projects and show them to me and my assistant, because I had these 2 classes, and we'll just do whatever you need to do to not quit, but still show up and do something. So I changed the whole curriculum for myself. And then he was just really like, cool. I remember one of the last days of presenting my art, he told everyone that I was dropping out of the college, and they're like, no, why? You're so good. And I was like, doesn't matter. Like, it's not me. So I fundraised. I went to Tanzania for a year. I volunteered with street children. Once I was there, I kind of realized, well, I don't really belong here. I kind of belong back in the States, because, you know, these batches of white volunteers from other countries come and then they leave forever. It's like, well, not really a solution to like the problems there. But yeah, I didn't really know that. And I showed up and I did what I could for like a year, and I learned Swahili. But anyway, I just sort of have this experience of, and the way that these stories kind of tie in is like getting back in alignment with who you are and surrendering to the truth once you realize what it is. Like once the truth is revealed to you, either about who you are or in a larger paradigm, who God is and what he prefers for the souls to, you know, be spiritually aligned, or how God designed us. You know, once there's like, once that truth is revealed, like, are you going to surrender or not? Like, are you going to all the way follow through with the truth and honor it and live it the way that you know is the truth for you? And, you know, my sort of experience, my stance for like parents is that when we do that, and kind of getting back to the book a little bit, when we honor our truth, or God's truth, God's communication to us, like we were starting to like realign with, we're starting to like come into alignment, and there's like this magnetism, there's just an attractive quality, there's this alignment that like kind of like fills the atmosphere around you when you're aligned with your soul and aligned with the cosmos, you know. And when that happens, there really aren't any buttons to push. I mean, yeah, maybe there's residual dynamics that still play out a little, but like basically children don't need to defy you and push your buttons, because there are no buttons. And so they're just basically attracted to you or us as parents, and they're mesmerized. And I mean, in my private little home, like I make plenty of mistakes as a parent. I mean, just today, you know, it's not so much about being perfect ever, you know, but how to get back into alignment. And that's kind of what the book is about getting back into alignment with God, with your soul. But yeah, in my private little world, just having had my experience, like I've told you, just working with children, loving kids, and kind of giving my life to that, I have the experience of, and well, it's not just like I'm talking, it's like a little like, I feel a little vulnerable sharing my gift, my truth, you know. It's like something that's sort of been private, like just something that whoever if you live with me, or if you're a child that I've worked with, or you spend enough time with me, you might get to see that part of me. But as a mom, I have these experiences where my children like adore me, you know, and not all the time, believe me, they're irritated with me too, you know, it's not perfect, but there are these times where I get back into alignment, and then my children are magnetized to me. Because what does a person do, and how does a person act? What are the qualities of the person who's in alignment? They are curious, playful, alive, vibrant. You know, they're ready for like an adventure, and kind of just feeling this full creativity, playfulness, and that resonates. That is like how children want to, and how God designed children to be. We all enter this world in that high vibration of like curiosity, exploration, play, creativity, love, you know, just really they enter just aligned. And then over time, all of us, we kind of pick up habits and conditionings and kind of dull down a little bit. But you know, for generations to come and generations in the past, like children are still entering that way. And us parents, you know, we kind of have to deal with that. Like that's the reality. That is like the design that God created for us. This is human life. This is human family life. And so are we going to like resist that and think, oh, you know, these children need this. And so like kind of like what I where I go in the book is like, you know, God also designed children to like push and kind of children are like an alarm system. They let us know when we're out of alignment. They're like experts at being able to tell and kind of push back and like not fully cooperate when you're like, we can force them into obedience, and then it looks like they're cooperating and they're good kids. But obedience out of fear of retribution is not really like, it's not like mutual respect and genuine like love and adoration and closeness that could happen for parents. You know, that is possible. And I'm not there, you know, but I have a sense of what it takes to get back there. Like, okay, you know, things got out of alignment. You know, what is needed, and whatever is revealed, even if it's uncomfortable. Like, if what is needed is that I do large things, like, you know, quit things. Like I've been telling stories about, well, I quit that. if it's that, or if it's just like, okay, I just need to take a stand for my values. We need to reel back this and we need to increase this, or I just need to pull back my energy because I'm being so controlling right now. And then actually, follow through with what you know is the truth, then that's surrender, and things start to shift when we honor the truth. And that's what surrender is to me. You were resisting previously, or you didn't know, or you were resisting it kind of in the darkness about something. And then, you turn to your higher guidance, or you allow your higher guidance, all the communication that's already coming from God, let it in, and and decide like, okay, I'm going to go with this. It makes sense. I'm not comfortable, or whatever it is, but and throughout the book that I wrote, Surrender, I shared examples of times in parenting and also in other areas of my life, a couple different areas where I was resisting and then I surrendered. And what happens after that is magical, because it's like the old dynamic, there's no room for the old dynamic, because you're kind of a transformed person and you're kind of back, your spirit's back, you're present again. And this just really transforms the atmosphere of the home. So that's a little bit about the theory and what I'm taking a stand for and what I know. And I have a couple other things, stories I could tell, and I'm pausing there. Does anyone absolutely need to put something in the chat or unmute yourself to speak and ask a question? If you feel in that call, please do share. I'm looking at the chat. Oh, you guys, I don't think I can totally read it right now. No, wait, let's read it. Hi, okay, so I'm going to share who's here. Hi, I'm Angie. I'm in Orlando. I'm here because I love Dominique and also have watched this message form in her heart from over many years, and she has helped me so much as a parent. Oh my gosh, Angie. Thank you. Kristen in Gainesville. I'm here because Dominique has inspired me in so many ways for so many years. I'm beyond excited and thrilled about the book. Hi, I'm Lori in Timucuan in Seminole Land, Timucuan, known as Gainesville, Florida. I love Dominique so much, and I'm so excited to see Dominique's life purpose coming into form. Jim from Gainesville, friends with Dominique and Gaetano. Carolyn Wayne, Rebecca Wayne Mangum's mom, and Jonah and Micah's Nana. I'm here to support Dominique because I love her and I love the special relationship she shares with Rebecca. Also, you're never too old to learn. This is Anne with my mom, Mary. We live in Gainesville. I love Dominique and her family. We are joining the book release party to support our mother-daughter relationship as we currently live together. Hi, I'm Rohini, living in Gainesville, Florida. Dominique is a dear friend and she has deeply inspired me as her friend and as a mother throughout the years. I believe in her and I'm amazed witnessing her purpose unfold. I am Ashwani, living in Gainesville, Florida, a friend of Dominique. I am joining the book release party to support her and share happiness of book release. Yes. Lakshmi, Priya, and Melrose, so fun to hear your story, your backstory. The you I never heard about. Congrats on following your passion. Hare Krishna. I'm Kara in Alachua, Florida. So happy to be in association with Dominique over the years. Witnessing her as a mother and devotional woman has been very inspiring to me. Your truth has always moved me closer to my own, and I'm looking forward to reading your beautiful creation. Thank you for stretching yourself in this way so that we get to witness you and your purpose. Thank you. Susan and Melrose, big fan. Inspired by your accomplishment and message, surrendering to God guidance brings magic. Thank you, dear Dominique. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you all. It's nice to hear from you. Kind of just hear. I got a lot of praise during that time. I'll take it. Thank you. So yeah. So okay. Surrender. I don't know. I don't know, we have like 20 more minutes. I am going to share a link to the book. I'm going to go ahead and share it now in case some of you need to go. So I have been putting together a website and all this business stuff. And so here's a link to the book. You can get it for free. I don't know if I told you this. You can get it for free. If you really want to buy it on Amazon, I can share that link too, or just send me a message. But right now, this is just you put in your name and your email address, and you will, if if you don't want to be on my email list, that's like fine. You can unsubscribe if it's not relevant to you, or whatever. But yeah, like you basically get my book for free, and you can also join my email list, and I'll just send like valuable content and updates and stuff like that. And so you can also go to my website, dominiquefrisella.com, but this is dominiquefrisella.com/book. So that's the link, and you can see what I've been setting up. It's not perfect. In fact, some of it's not working, but I think you can get it. I think it's going to work out. You're going to get the book, and it's on Amazon too. I mean, you can just look up my name, Dominique Frisella, and the word surrender, and you'll see the book, and you can buy it. I think it's like $5.99, at least in the United States. I think you can buy it in other countries too. So yeah, so yes, so my experience is that there's always a way forward. Like I have like this, after all these years, and first I just started kind of realizing this week, is like, or like maybe last week, but like I don't go through stress. I have stress, and like there's tension and conflict and challenge, like in the family life. Like there's just people bumping into each other. There's going to be tension, but like I never feel like distraught by it. I mean, I very rarely feel distraught or like beside myself or like at a loss. I don't ever really feel at a loss, and it's not because I always know the answer, but I just have like this faith in the human spirit that like if you open up to discover what truth needs to be honored, the answers will come. And I believe that those answers, it's basically like, it's like praying to God, I mean, I don't know how to put it, but being open to God communicating to you. And I've just been meditating on what I'm bringing to parents, which is like a confidence that it's there's a way forward. There's a way forward. Our children can become totally sweet again, and warmed up and lovely and curious and gentle and like relaxed. And children get stressed too. They get like, there's dynamics that develop in parenting. Okay, Anne, yes, Anne asked a question. I'll answer that in a minute. Yes. So anyway, yeah, all of it can be unraveled. What I'm trying to say is the tension and stress, the dynamics, like even if it's been going on for years, it can all be unraveled fairly quickly, especially if you're like surrendering and putting the effort in to undo the dynamic. And like in the book, I described two types of surrender. There's a stepping forward surrender and a stepping back surrender. And the stepping forward surrender is for the person who's like previously passive, like they are ignoring something or avoiding something, or they're just in some way or other not like addressing something like fully assertively, so they're passive. And there's, it takes time to maybe it takes some time to kind of discover what it is to do. Oh, cool, Angie. Yeah, two types of surrender. Angie loves that. Yeah, so I'm feeling a little, just so you guys, I just want to clear the air. I'm feeling like a little bit embarrassed. Like I don't know where to go right now, but I want to keep talking. I have more things to say, but I feel a little awkward. But anyway, yeah, so there's a stepping forward surrender where you're like, okay, up until now, I have been addressing this. Like it's not going well, and I'm gonna take a stance for something, like what I know, like what my values are, or what I know would be the right thing to do next. Like what is my duty, what is my service, what would be healing for the family, what would be bring us back into alignment. And I believe that we know, like sometimes we're just pretending we don't know, but we know what I feel like the answers are there. Like it's not like this, everything's a mystery and you can't ever move forward with your life. I mean, come on. So yeah, like so stepping forward is a type of surrender, and we're called to do it. And then there's another type of surrender, which is stepping back. And that's when you're too aggressive. I tend to do the be more aggressive, like kind of more passionate, like, oh, this, I'm going to make a change. This shouldn't be happening this way. Trying to control the situation. And I think this is a universal thing. Like, we're all, and I think even avoiding is trying to control something. You're trying to control, like, dealing. Yeah, I don't want to deal with it. So it's like, I'll just won't deal with it. And I'm sort of that still thinking I'm in control, but life is what it is, so we're going to need to face it. And if it means releasing that control in order to come from our higher self, then, I mean, you can resist coming from your higher self, but it never works, and you're going to suffer, and you're going to create sort of like karma. We reap what we sow. Like that, there are consequences for living out of alignment and letting things sort of like fester and like not be stagnant. And if you're here and if you're a conscious parent, the idea of having a stagnant, festering dynamic in your life or home or wherever area of your life, it's not appealing to you. Like, nobody really says, yeah, that's what I want, but so yeah, the stepping back surrender is like, okay, I'm going to let life unfold as it will. God can take care of this, or like, let my children have their relationship that they do with my spouse. Let that happen. Like, I'm not going to try to control that. I'm stepping back. I'm letting life unfold. I don't need it. The world doesn't need my input right now. Like, let things just give some space. And that's a type of surrender. I think that's a common way that we think of surrender, is just like giving up and letting go. That's not like the full, complete definition, in my opinion. Sometimes surrender to me is like, it can be very bold, like, yeah, I'm surrendered, and I know what's needed here, and we're doing this and this and this, and like that's just like exactly what's going to happen, And I wrote about a story in the book. Oh, I was going to read. That's what I can do. So let me read something in the book. I just thought, so I was going to read the beginning of the book, but I feel like it's kind of like too heavy and long. And I don't even know where the story is in the book. Hold on, you guys. Because I was just thinking of one of the things. I don't know if I'm going to find it, especially like on the spot. I was, I don't know. I'm just showing up here with what I got. Maybe it's in the beginning. You guys, I don't want to just have you sitting there. So anyway, I'll just tell the story without reading it. So this is kind of simple. This is like a lighthearted version of surrender, like in the middle of parenting. Like, okay, my kids, and I wrote it in the book, but like this was, I don't know, when they were like 5 and 7 or something, or 6 and 8. And now they are almost 9 and almost 11. I remember my youngest son was like having all these comebacks, like, yeah, whatever, mom, like, okay, sure, whatever, like all these like kind of disrespectful comebacks, like, that's not what I want for dinner, and like just a lot of attitude and like sassiness. And I was like, and he was saying these kind of phrases I never heard before, and I feel like they were coming from some media, some video or episode or show that I was like, that, I know that's not a good show. I don't even remember what it was. I mean, I remember some that we had to like not show them at that time, or really care for to ever show them again. That I was like, yeah, I've been passive. I'm letting you guys watch this show, and I'm getting the result of children who are taking on these kind of irreverent, disrespectful phrases and comebacks. And like, no, and it's been, and by the way, we're watching too much screens. I'm putting them in front of the screen too much, using it as like a babysitter. And it's not my values. And I was passive, and no, like, we're cutting back. I remember this phases where we had to cut back at different times because I get lazy again, put them in the passive, put them in front of the screen. Like, no, it's too much. Okay, scale back. But at that time I was like, okay, let's just do Friday movie night. And you're not watching these shows. And then I contacted a couple of friends where they go to, I was like, they can't watch these shows. And then I took care of it. And the thing is, what happened, my kids, every time I get a sort of with like screens, they never fight back. They're just like, like for like a second, they're like, oh, okay. But usually they're like, okay, fine. Like, cause they know they can feel it's unhealthy. On the, like, I think on a deeper level, they're like, mom's getting assertive again. This is good. It's healthy. I feel safe. I feel secure. Like, okay, we're going with it. And they didn't like ever go, they didn't even have to like grieve or separate. It wasn't like an addiction. It was just like a lazy habit. I was kind of putting them in front of the screen. And the behavior of talking back was like being kind of rude. Not that I want my kids to be silent and obedient or cooperative, but it was just kind of rude. Instead of saying thank you for dinner, they're complaining. It's like, no, I just made you dinner. I don't want to hear complaints, but yeah, so that's just a small example. Okay, I'm going to read something from the book, and I'm going to do a couple special mentions, and then we can like unmute and say a few things if anybody wants to. What do I read? Oh my gosh. Okay. So I just flipped to this. I'll just read this. This is an introduction of the book, and it's a section called God's Alarm System, the Human Child, i.e. your gift. God wants us back under his fold. For us parents, he uses a very special mechanism to reach us, our children. The human child fuels, sparks, and demands deep spiritual transformation. Not only does the sheer joy from observing our little ones grow and the anxiety from worrying about their safety push us to our limits emotionally and spiritually. Beyond that, there's this other fascinating phenomenon of God's creation: button pushing, defiance, and total non-cooperation. God designed the human child to button push, defy, and not cooperate with its parents under very specific circumstances, when you are out of alignment with your soul. Children are mirrors of our consciousness. Your children are tuned in at the deepest level. They know when you're off. They pick up when you're stuck, rigid, irritated, anxious, and out of alignment. The human child wants and actually demands for parents to access patience, flexibility, trust, and inner vibrancy. They won't have it any other way. Do you notice that? They can really push our buttons like crazy. Or another way to say this is that God is sounding his alarm. Hey parent, something is off inside of you. God's built-in alarm system, especially designed for parents, picks up on intruding emotional, mental states. Intruding meaning anything that is not spiritually authentic, coming from the soul of the parent. For example, lately here in the 18th month of the COVID-19 pandemic experience, when I'm under-resourced, overwhelmed, and irritated, my children started tapping on things and making loud sounds. I played into the dynamic by snapping, stop, and quiet, in a short, unkind voice. So guess what I get the next day? More tapping and random loud noises. However, amazingly, I'm in the middle of writing a book about surrendering to God However, amazingly, I'm in the middle of writing a book about surrendering to God when your child is pushing your buttons. So I was inspired to try a new response. I decided to sit down and enjoy my children's company. When I returned to the present moment with a gentle, accepting energy, all of that behavior immediately disappeared. My boys just started talking to me and engaging me in their projects and interests. We immediately started to enjoy being together, doing anything. And that experience urged me further to live my life purpose. I felt confirmed to keep writing this book. If you're experiencing a power struggle or this unbelievably grating behavior in your child that just drives you crazy, you can rest assured that this is for your spiritual benefit. It is definitely a gift, just as it is. God is helping you. He is nudging and urging you to face something. Your child is born expecting to experience parents who are present, connected, joyful, and empowered. God designed them that way. The human child wants to play and explore life with you. So that's our calling, dear parents, but how can you show up for this adventure? I think I'll pause there. So I'm going to check the chat. Kara gave me the idea to read an excerpt from the book. Yeah, that was the whole plan. I dedicated the book to Srila Prabhupada, the man who taught me all about devotion to God. I've been reading his teachings and studying his teachings about devotion to God, and that is who I dedicated the book to. And I was Just that was a little bit of reading. Got an extra set. And so, wow, 2 types of surrender. Cool. Rukmini from Latvia, here to cheer Dominique for following her heart to support others on their God-centered parental adventure as her unique calling. Thank you. Rohini liked the examples. Jim, awesome. So yes, would anyone like to share any questions or comments besides praising me? Comments about like what the topic? But if not, I'm gonna just let me know. You could raise your hand, or I don't know how it works, but unmute yourself, let me know. I would like to give special mentions and appreciations. I shared a few earlier, like my mom and dad. I just want to say, especially about my mom has always my mom and dad are so accepting of who I am. And so I certainly got this whole like being present with what is from them. They gave me that, like, yeah, we're here for you. Who are you? And we want to know that. So it was a huge gift to have these 2 souls as my parents. So I'm very grateful. And there's one specific thing I want to mention about my dad, which is that he's a playful dad. So like half of what I got out of playing with kids for all these years, the ability is like I learned from him. He has natural ability with kids, and I just feel like the luckiest person on the planet with this whole being playful thing, because it's fun and it feels good. So special mention there. I'm grateful to Marie Glashine, who kind of coached me into this, and Angie Ross, who was there, and we're like supporting each other in our life purposes. So thank you, Marie and Angie, for being emotional, spiritual support. I want to say thank you to Drew, my book coach, for taking a stand for me. I mean, I don't even think he doesn't talk about devotion to God, but he could tell that I do, that it mattered to me. And so I thought it was really cool that he took a stand for including surrender to God in the book. He could tell I was talking about it. It might not be his thing, although I think he does talk about surrender in different ways. But yeah, thank you, Drew. I've already said that to you a bunch, but thank you. And then lastly, Raghu of 8 Eyes Designs. She designed this book, and it's really beautiful. And I love it. And she listened to and did everything that I requested with the book. So it's just so pretty. And she makes really, I like picked her out because I saw her designs and I love what she did. And also she helped design a book that I edited, and she was just amazing to work with. She got it exactly right. So those are just special mentions. Okay, guys. Thank you. Okay, now we can just be free for a minute, unmute and say hi or goodbye or whatever, but I don't know how to end it. I'm so grateful for your support, for just hearing my story. I feel like there's more stories. I have a list of like a few more stories from when I was 28 and 35 and that had to do with surrender, but.
Dominique, your favorite
Yeah.
story? What's your favorite story?
My favorite story?
Yeah.
That I haven't shared yet?
Yes.
Oh, you guys, 2 people want to hear stories. Surrender. Okay, I'll share one. Well, favorite. This is just a surrender story that's not exactly related to parenting, but here's the story. So it's when I met my husband. Okay, I was like starting to like feel like, okay, I was 27, 28, like, okay, I want a partner and I want to have a family, and like I'm babysitting kids, and it was almost like I don't even want to go to work because I don't want to see someone else's dream, my dream playing out in someone else's life. I need this dream to kind of come true for me. Okay. And I was wanting to control it. I was like, okay, it's going to be like this when I meet the person, and I'm going to, I was trying to make it happen. And part of that was I had like this list of men that I knew that were good men, friends, going through wondering if they were one of them would be members. Like 9 men. I was like, it was like a lot of just nice people or people I knew that were single, wondering if they could be like my future partner. Because I was like, my mind was trying to like make it happen, you know. And like finally, and I think Lori was there. Lori was there. And shout out to Lori. She's my sister. She's been so supportive in my life at every single turning point in my life as an adult. Anyway, and it was like, okay, none of these men are it. Like I had to like let them go. Like it was like, okay, I don't know who my future partner is going to be. And it's really painful to just let all the like mental activity to try to get like what I wanted, and like, okay, I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know when, if I'm ever going to meet someone. It's what I want. And I finally like cried and grieved, not knowing what was going to happen. I just let it go. Like, I don't know. And I don't know if it'll ever happen. And like 8 days later, I'm 8 days later, I'm with a group of women, and someone says, you know, my friend, my future husband, my friend Guy moved back to Gainesville to meet his future wife. And you know, he's like 3 years older than me. He's 3 years older than me. And I think you guys would be a good couple. I was like, introduce us, you know, fine, go ahead and introduce us. And then this is a good story. This is a good story because like of the magic that happens after surrender. Like that's kind of like my thing. Like if you surrender, you get magic, you know, and that's my theory, or that's my message, and I'm taking a stand behind it, even if it's not always like that magical, but whatever. Like it's the message I'm here to say. So yeah, so like, okay, introduce us. Okay. And I was like curious, so I looked him up online, first and last name, and for some reason she described to me the truck that he had a red truck with like a cab on it, a topper, and it was red. And I was like, okay, I don't know why she's telling me about the truck, but I went home and looked him up. I saw a picture of him. He had some art online, and I was like, oh, he's attractive, like cool. I wanted to meet him. And then I go to sleep that night, and I have this dream that I met him. And in the dream, we're both going to like a preschool to pick up children, because that's kind of some things that I did as my job, and that's what I dreamt of. Like, okay. I woke up with such a strong feeling. I met him. And I woke up at 5 a.m. because I had an early job, this certain job I had. And I was like, I met him. And then I realized I met him. That guy with that face online and that truck she described, that guy, whose name is Guy or Gaetano, came like last week to check the house out next door that I was renting, to rent out the house next door to me. And I was like, I met him. I met Guy. I met the guy. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I contacted my friend Jessica, different Jessica than I mentioned earlier. I was like, don't introduce us. He's about to move in next door to me. We're already going to meet. Like, just pause, you know, I think I'm going to meet him. And so I had like this double way I was going to meet Guy. It was through the friend or through moving in next door, but it was happening. Like, and then when I met him, it was like so much synchronicity. Okay, so all my plans for how I was going to meet a partner kind of went out the window. Like, okay, we're going to, you know, be friends for 6 months. Like, no, Gaetano and I were like, this is 100% happening. And we were, I mean, I feel embarrassed, except that it worked out. So I can just be like, yeah, you know, I followed my intuition and it was right. But yeah, we were engaged 10 weeks after meeting each other. Like, we're going to spend the rest of our life together, you know? So yeah. So anyway, there was so much in common. Both our fathers' names are Tom. Both our mother's middle names are Marie. My middle name is Marie. My sister's name is Renee. My sister's middle name is Renee. His sister's name is Renee. Both our fathers are Italian from the north. Both our mothers are raised in South Florida, but families are from Georgia. Gaetano and I both wanted to buy the same house. We just drove around Gainesville. We found the same house. He drove his mom by it. I picked up the flyer. I called the realtor. Like, we both were interested in buying the same house. And it was like a block from where we ended up buying a house. And, you know, just so much. I mean, also, I'll show you one more thing that was kind of magical. Okay, you see this little Mexican guy and girl and gal. Okay, so this is, Gaetano and I each had one of these. And the morning that we decided, let's get married, it was like a discussion, like we just have to get married. Like, okay, you wanna do it? Yeah, we wanna do it? Okay, let's do it. We're gonna get married. So let's go to each other, let's go separately to each other's, to our separate homes and exchange like something, like a trinket or whatever, exchange a gift. And we both brought this random, we both had the same thing and we exchanged that. And it was like, really? We're meant to be together, you know, like it was just like, how do we both have, this was so random, not something that was a focus of either of our lives. So we just, so I have this little thing here. It's like a symbol of like, when you surrender, magic happens, and it's right here on my desk. And it's, I don't keep any trinkets from my 20s, you know, anywhere. I don't have any of my trinkets, but it's one thing I kept. So that's a little story about, you know, just the magic of letting go. Oh, Susan, Susan's crying. I know, man, it's sometimes the stories that God works in our life is just like shocking and magical, you know? I mean, it's just, sometimes it's like that. And that was definitely my experience with meeting my husband. It was like a fairy tale. I mean, I remember when we met, I was like, when we worked together, I looked in the mirror, I was reminded of him. It was really weird. Like, why am I seeing him in the mirror? I mean, I don't know, like we're like thin, dark hair, Italian heritage, but we're not looking exactly alike. But yeah, it was just sort of meant to be done. So that's the story of when you finally let go, things start happening. But if you resist, it takes longer and it's even more suffering, I think. I mean, who knows what happens if I had surrendered, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, that's an example. You guys, I think we're done. Would you all unmute, and some of you, if you can, come on video. Whoever can, just come say hi to me. I need voices to say goodbye to.
You're amazing.
Thank you. Namaste.
Great.
Love you all.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Love
Nice.
you, Dominique.
Love you guys. Thank you all.
You're awesome, Dominique. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I got a bunch of questions I'll ask you tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, my mom and dad are coming to visit tomorrow.
I'd like a
Sounds good.
signed copy.
Me too.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah.
I'll pay double.
Yeah. I did print a batch of them, so I'll have some copies here, you know, to hand out and sign or whatever. I don't know. Sign sounds funny. But thank you guys. And you know, that's it. I'm done. I could have said more. I'm just excited. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you,
again.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
God, love you.
Love you. Bye. Mwah.
Huh.